After the humongous success of Chhaava, we have Vicky Kaushal breaking down the scene from the film and some behind the scenes stories about the film with IMDb. If you haven't seen my review, it's already out. You can check it. One thing is for sure, Vicky Kaushal nailed it. I'm really excited to hear from it what happened behind the scenes. So let's have a look. By the way, the channel membership is live. If you really like the content, want to support the channel, you can become a member. Get to watch such reactions early and some member-only videos. To know more, click on the join button and let's go.
Hi, I'm Vicky Kaushal. Let's go behind the scenes of Chhaava with IMDb.
शोर नहीं करते, सीधा शिकार करते हैं.
You've transformed immensely for Chhaava. What was the toughest part that people don't realize?
I think for me, Chhaava has been the most physically challenging film that I've ever done till date. From putting on 25 kilos of weight, all those continuous rigorous training for about a year, horse riding, sword fighting. I don't know, like I can't even count it on my fingers as to the number of action sequences that are there in the film with humongous crowd work with about 2,000 people, 100 horses, elephants, everything going on all together. And we've all tried.
They have, put in the work and I'm happy it's getting its due.
To shoot it and execute it in the most realistic way. It's not anti-gravity. It's all very real, very grounded, very gritty. So and very long shots as well. So I think the most challenging part for me was the physicality and all the action sequences themselves.
What was your reaction when you saw the trailer for the first time?
Okay, can we do one thing? Should we just break down the trailer as well for the audience?
Oh. It was his plan or what?
I'm gonna play the trailer and we're gonna break it down. The Rajya Abhishek scene. This for me was, for actually the entire team, was a very, very emotional moment which we were not prepared for. Our production designer, Subuda, he actually went to the Raigad Fort and researched to the very detail, and the size, every pillar, every carving, every color matches exactly to how the Darbar was back in the time at the Raigad Fort. So in terms of shape and size and the space, it was identical. The throne was identical. Everything about that place was identical. When we went on and there were like a crowd of like 1,000 people and there's this Rajabhishek.
Like that is kind of, detailing you expect the films to have, right? Like, and that's why when you see the film doing so well and when you have paid the money for the ticket, like it should be worth. It's not just about the story, about, what you just see. It's just amount of work that they have put in. They could have not made it, authentic, or we would have not even known if we have not seen the interview. Like it's actually similar to what and all the work they have put in, but they put that work. And when you see the film, it, like, you can feel it, that it is authentic, it looks real, it feels, it gives you that feeling, oh, you are in that time. And that is because all the work they have put behind the scenes, every department, and that's why it feels so happy when such film really, get its due with the, all the accolades and the box office. Like when that ticking keeps happening and when you have put in the word, that's the best feeling you can get.
Coronation scene that we're doing, we came to know that we actually ended up shooting the scene on the same day as it actually happened in 1681, which was 16th of January. So it happened on 16th of January 1681 and we were shooting on 16th of January 2024. So that in itself just gave us like, oh, is this a sign? Or I don't know, it just made us feel very positive. And when I was walking and I had to walk some 25 steps, reach the throne and just climb those stairs and walk and sit there on the throne. I don't know what just happened. Every time I would walk, I would reach there and I would start howling and I would start crying. And everybody had tears in their eyes. And every time Lakshman sir had to cut the scene because obviously a king can't be crying at the moment when he's sitting on the throne for the first time. But I couldn't help it, and I don't know what was happening. I think the energy was too pure over there, with everybody's emotions attached to it. It just felt so truthful that I'm going to cherish it for the rest of my life. So yeah, the Rajya Abhishek scene was very special.
That scene, the crowd shot in the climax when he's just people are just coming in. It's like you can't even move. There's no space and people are still coming in. It kind of reminded me of the scene from Game of Thrones, the the popular battle where you get that feeling, claustrophobic feeling. But here, of course, it's not that feeling that, but like you can see him still fighting among that crowd with, you can't even move around, but he's still taking out people. Like, it's incredibly shot. The climax fight scene is the best.
I think for me and for the entire unit, I think the most challenging part of shooting was this sequence where I'm fighting with almost like 2,000 people in one go, and the way it was shot, without giving a lot of details, the way it was shot, firstly we were shooting in Hawaii in extreme summer with everybody going at it from about 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening, 12 hours straight.
Wow.
And these were the long short action sequences where, just Lakshman sir gave me one brief that it should feel like you're in a trance. You're just in a trance. You don't know how
And it comes through.
you're fighting, what you're fighting, but it's just going on and on and on and on. So in the way it was shot, in the way it was choreographed, it was all kept very raw. It was kept very gritty and very, like I said, longer shots. And whenever it's longer shot, it becomes very tiring for not just me, but all the stuntmen, all the people involved. And
To keep that energy consistent throughout, like you don't see like sometimes, okay, you can see the tiredness on his face, and it's just now again you have to do this. Like you just see him in an energy. He's in that character throughout that sequence. So that that it's very easy. Like I've seen movies where that it breaks. Now this is the actor got tired, then the next day they shot again, maybe he was refreshed, then you see that thing happening in the performance. But here I couldn't see that at all.
you have so many people around you in one frame and it's all packed, it's very difficult to choreograph each and every person, so after a few hours, everybody found the rhythm and everybody got what we are trying to create, and everybody was so involved. But I think this has to be the most tiring, the most exhausting, the most
And it paid
fulfilling
off.
also at the same time, but the most challenging as well. The sequence was extremely challenging.
Har Mahadev.
Okay, so
This story I know.
Nama Parvati Pate Har Har Mahadev. This was a big monologue that comes at a very crucial point in the film. This was also one of those days which was just extremely heartfelt for everybody on set. This was also the only scene where we just did not do any rehearsal. There was no rehearsal. This was the only scene. Otherwise, every other scene we had rehearsed, we had reading sessions, because Lakshman sir just wanted it to be very pure, unhinged, and also he just gave me one brief that when it ends, the people should feel like if you ask them to go to war at that moment, they should feel like we are fully ready. So that's the impact I want at the end of it. And it is a beautifully written speech where it just flows so naturally to that stage. And when we did the first take, obviously it went very well because every word felt very pure. But one little thing just happened on its own over there.
Hey, what do you say? Improvised.
It was this war cry of Har Har Mahadev. In the script, it was Jai Bhavani and Har Har Mahadev. I don't know what happened, but in that flow, it just became Om Namah Parvati Pate Har Har Mahadev, and it just came out. I had not planned for it, and it just happened, and it just felt so right that Lakshman sir then just asked me that it has to be there because it just feels so right. And
It's like that tells you, how much it's I think it's like getting something back for giving in so much. Like you're giving in the film, your craft so much that a moment happened where it just was the right thing, and that you got rewarded for all the passion you put in and just created a moment which is outstanding.
And everybody, they didn't know when the scene ends, but with that Har Har Mahadev, the way everybody joined in and everybody had
sync.
that war cry together, it just felt right to everybody. So this scene is also very special for all of us.
Which final finish scene surprised you the most when you saw it for the first time?
Interesting
It
question.
has to be the
Lion.
lion moment. because we were all very curious when we were shooting. Obviously, there's a lot of computer graphics involved, but when we were shooting this sequence, it was shot with a dummy. It was shot with sometimes nobody in front of you. There's no animal. You would just imagine the animal, and it was going to be created in the post. So we were all very curious how it's going to turn up, and the way it's turned up, and the way the frame is looking, everything is
in the movie. Like it's CG. Like that's one thing, it cannot be real, right? So that also gives away. And maybe some places the visual effect is not very the best, but the moment the thing that happened, like the whole sequence, it works really well. There's an editing thing there, that he just does that, and then we cut to black, and then suddenly we go to the next moment where he's somewhere else and fighting. Like that felt a little abrupt. Maybe they couldn't show ripping apart, or some post thing. They said, okay, let's not show all of that, maybe censor thing, and then they just moved on.
I think this was the frame, this was the shot which surprised me in the most beautiful way, the most. Yeah.
What has been your favorite reaction for your performance and the film so far?
When you ask me this question, the reaction that is just hitting me the first is when I showed the trailer to my mom, and she had like tears in her eyes, and she gave me the tightest hug, and she was like, "Is that you?" So that was cute.
That's the best feeling.
Lakshman Utekar wanted you to fight like a lion. What did you do differently?
I actually just didn't make it complex in my head and overcook it, but I just did one thing, which was just believe that I'm a lion. I don't know how that happened or whatever, but in everything that I did, be it walking, be it the tender moments, be it obviously the warrior moments or the king moments, that's all he said to me. He said that I don't want you to complicate your thought process in your head, but it should just feel like a lion. Whenever I see you in the frame, no matter which emotion you're portraying, it should just feel like a lion. So I just kept saying that this is me, this is a lion.
What aspect of Chhatrapati Sambhaji's personality fascinated you the most?
Okay, this is a very small, quick scene in where a British, like from the East India Company, whatever that time, comes to visit him, like a small scene, and he just speaks in English, and the character replies in English, and it's like, and then I remember that actually, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj knew 16 languages, so that's a very cool, quick shot to explain that, and it's done really well.
The number of things or the amazing achievements that he's done by the age of 30, I can't even fathom that, because to imagine that when he fought his first war when he was at the age of 16. By the age of 16, he knew more than 13 languages. He had written many books. He used to have a sword which was just 60 kilos of weight, 127 wars, 0 losses, and then to follow the legacy and carry forward the legacy of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. I can't even imagine the kind of responsibility he must be having. So all of this, when you put together in a lifespan of 30 years old, is just unfathomable. So for me, I was just getting fascinated by each and every aspect about the life of Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj.
What was your first day on the sets of Chhaava like?
We shot
First day.
a very sweet, a very tender scene between Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj and Maharani Yesubai, played by Rashmika Mandanna. It was a beautifully written scene. A part of that is in the trailer as well. But that was our first scene and the first day.
I think most times such films that to big scale, sometimes they want to go for the big, post-production heavy scenes first, so that you can get more time to work on them, and then come to the scenes which don't require a lot of work. But this film, I'm guessing you want to start with like a scene where not much is happening, so the actors get time to understand the world and the character, and have time to live it, and then get into the very difficult sequence. Of course, the action sequence were difficult. The training with the performance, you need to have that. It cannot be that you do the action, it's not there, and then later in the film you get the character. So sometimes actors take time to get in, and it all decides what scene you want to go first. So it makes sense for this film. They want to go for a small, simple scene, and which is not very, too much happening for the actor to do.
of Chhaava. A lot of nervous energy on day one,
Yep.
as it should be, because it was the first historical for me, first historical for Rashmika, first historical for Lakshman sir, and first historical for Maddox. So there was a lot of nervous energy that, okay, you know, we've been prepping for it for 7 months. Now we are finally on that day where we commit to it, when we start committing, when we start shooting. So there was just, obviously we did a puja, and every day of Chhaava we would begin with a Shiv Garjana, taking the blessings of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, and then we would start shooting. So I guess it was that positive nervous energy going on where we were like, okay, you know, it's time, let's give it our all. Yeah, that's how it felt.
After playing this role, do you feel you imbibed certain aspects of his personality?
I think so. See, the thing is, when you perform a role like Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, which is so inspiring, which is so motivating, I think a few fragments, a few essence of that person will continue to stay with me for the rest of my life, not just for a few moments after the shoot is done. It's just because there are some characters whom you get to live so closely that you don't want to let it go because they are so amazing. So I think there's a lot about him in the way.
I think even people just watching the film, right? Like the courage you see, like some maybe you also take away something with you, watching the story, watching the character. It's not just some actors doing it. Maybe they are more, you know, in touch with it and more time they're spending with it. But I think a good film is that leaves a mark, and this film has left a mark.
He protects his values, his principles, the way he is very certain and assertive about what he believes in, the way he cares about the people around. There was a lot to learn from him.
What's your favorite IMDb feature?
My favorite feature in IMDb is to check out trivias of all the films that I love. Sometimes the goof ups as well. I love going about the making of the film, what went behind, and you get all those details about the actors, about the director, about the journey of the film, and each and every scene sometimes. So I love to read all the trivias behind all the wonderful films. My most fascinating trivias are always that, this film there was a plane on top which it shouldn't be at that era, or those kind of goof ups I really enjoy watching because it's just fun and entertaining.
Cinema sins.
But in terms of trivia, I think it's always got to do about. Strangely, I get attracted towards historical filmmaking and how they kind of achieved. And like when I got to know for Gladiator 2 in how many days they shot that opening sequence, that big war sequence, it just baffled me because it's just incredible to know that to be using a 20 camera setup and all of that. Wow. It's just insane coordination. So yeah. So there you go, guys. I am supremely excited to read all your reviews on IMDb.
Definitely my review is not on IMDb. Not an avid user, but I'm sure a lot of people use it. And it has a lot of cool features about the trivia thing. I sometimes read some stuff about, films there. And you kind of find people, if you want to find who have worked on the films, it's kind of helps it. But a great video. Wish they were like, maybe because it was around the film's release, so they couldn't really get into the details of a scene. Spoiler maybe. But yeah, I think after the film, there are a lot of sequences where we need the actor maybe sit together and kind of break down. Especially that climax pose, that 40-minute stretch from the war to getting captured to that the poetry movement they have back and forth, and then the whole after that, like it's just edged in my memory. That was so good. Overall, really enjoyed the film. Review is out. If you haven't seen, you can check it out here. There's other videos I'll be reacting to about Chhaava, so do subscribe to get that, and I will see you next time.